You heard our question. Would you let your child play football? A few years ago, that question's probably not as thought-provoking for some as it is now, but the issue of concussions has gained a lot more spotlight. The NFL is now having to say that football has, quote, never been safer. This is after San Francisco 49er Chris Borland decided to retire after just one season. The 24-year-old linebacker expressed some concerns over repeated head injuries. We've been covering what local football groups like Texas A&M and some high schools are doing to monitor head injuries. More on that after James Brown shows us how support for Borland is bringing new attention to safety.
For Chris Borland, playing even just one more season was out of the question.
I just don't want to get in the situation where I'm negotiating my health for money. And who knows how many hits is too many.
Here we go. Borland said the doubt started creeping in during 49ers training camp last August when he thought he sustained a mild concussion, but played through it.
I just started my professional career, and am I going to go down this road? Am I going to commit the prime of my life to something that could ultimately be detrimental to my health? And that just kind of triggered my thinking and changed the way I viewed the risks.
On Twitter, players said they understood Borland's decision. Brandon Marshall said he would not have walked off the field.
I love the game too much. I mean, I just love playing football, and I definitely understand the risks and all everything that comes with it, but I feel like the reward is worth it.
In a since-deleted tweet, Marshall mentioned Borland and another 49er who called it quits, Patrick Willis, asking, "They know something that we don't?" But he says that was a reference to the 49ers' tumultuous offseason. Legendary sports agent Lee Steinberg, the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire, says Borland's retirement will have an impact on the future of the game.
It adds one more level of concern to anyone who's the parent of a young male athlete or prospective athlete.
Borland said his decision is not an indictment on football.
If you weigh the risks and you decide this is something you want to partake in, it's a free country. Just make an informed decision, and two, don't play through concussions.
A few months ago, we showed you how Bryan and College Station schools are going high-tech when it comes to determining when student athletes can get back in the game after getting a concussion using an iPad app called C3 Logics. They test the athletes at the beginning of the season under normal, healthy circumstances. That's getting a baseline reading. And then after they get a concussion or suffer a hit, they are tested again. They can't get back in until the baseline results are back. It keeps kids safer and takes a little bit of guesswork out of the situation.
Students will sometimes try to downplay what they have and maybe downplay the symptoms that they're experiencing because they're afraid we're going to hold them out. And you can hide some symptoms. You can tell me that you don't have a headache when maybe you do have a mild headache, but you can't hide your neurocognitive functions.
The app tests everything from memory to reaction time and to balance. And then there are the Vector mouth guards that we've told you about that some Texas A&M football players are wearing during spring practices. Those new guards cost about $200 each, and they measure impacts that are different kinds that those players may be feeling.
The concussion arena today is extremely popular. It's a tool to help the athletic training staff and the sports medicine staff identify impacts and how it might be affecting an athlete's health. We have a mouth guard that we married basically the essential components of a smartphone to. So the mouth guard has a triaxial accelerometer, a triaxial gyroscope, a battery, and an antenna. So what happens is that an impact that's received by an athlete during course of play, an alert is sent to a sideline smartphone to the athletic training staff to identify that, for instance, number 45 received an impact. And it's registered in Gs, which is a common term utilized to register impact. Then once that alert is given, then the athletic trainers and the sports medicine people on the sideline can do a sideline assessment of the athlete when he comes off the field to identify, was that impact sustained enough that they need to do additional concussion testing.
As we are seeing more and more, it's important for us to try to identify forces and where these forces are occurring on the head, trying to identify the contacts maybe in practice or in a game that might be subtle. They may be cumulative. And so it's important for us to try to identify these on these players that might not come up to us and complain about concussion type symptoms. And so we were approached and started looking at this back late fall, and decided that we wanted in spring training to try these out on a few players. And so we moved forward with it in kind of a trial situation to see how well the information that we're getting, looking at the G-force impacts, where those impacts are occurring, and just trying to identify those things in practice in real time. Texas A&M is committed to sports concussions and the management of that. I mean, and so that starts from Mr. Hyman through Coach Sumlin and our sports medicine staff. So we spend a lot of time in education of our student athletes and in education of our coaches, and this is just another component of that whole process.